Hi, I'm here to pick up my son Milo.
There's no Milo here.
Who picked up my son from school?
Streaming only on Peacock.
I'm gonna need the name of everyone that could have a connection.
You don't understand. It was just the 5 of us.
So this was all planned.
What are you gonna do?
I will do whatever it takes to get my son back.
I honestly didn't see this coming. These nice people killing each other.
All Her Fault. A new series streaming now only on Peacock.
With new, gentler scented Clorox disinfecting wipes, clean finally smells as good as it feels. On everything from lamps to ceiling fans. Even on your kid's toy shark. Oh, ouch. Clorox disinfecting wipes. Now available in crisp lemon. Find it on Amazon. Clorox. Clean feels good.
Ladies and gentlemen, non-binary listeners, heroes and heroines, crooks and crookie-ons, Garth Brooks, the audio performance you are about to enjoy, discusses casinos and gambling. We do not recommend gambling with money you cannot afford to lose or that is needed to pay bills. If you have a gambling problem, contact your problem gambling hotline. If you do not know how to contact your problem gambling hotline, send an email to help@casinokombat.com. We will find that number for you and provide it to you. Our hosts' past performances are not indicative of anyone's future performance, including his own. All materials presented here are based on actual facts. Names and dates are changed to protect the innocent and the guilty. Some events unrelated to outcomes may be omitted in the interest of brevity and clarity. The contents of this episode are the property of Volcanic Dingo LLC. All rights reserved.
It's me, it's TRG, the Ramblin Gambler, just trying to make a living and doing the best I can.
Lyrics, dude. Recite him some lyrics.
Garth Brooks, let's go with I'm not big on social graces. Think I'll slip on down to the Oasis. I've got friends in low places. Welcome to episode 171 of our Casino Kombat podcast. It's funny, when we did the production meeting, the production meeting, that's both pompous and funny. Okay, Kismet must have written that. Let's go ahead with what Kismet wrote, and then I'll give you the real version of what happened. During the production meeting, we were talking about the lyrics reference in the disclaimer. Billy had suggested Garth Brooks. I asked him what lyric he had in mind, and he said he just assumed that I would do Blame It All on My Roots, I Showed Up in Boots, and Ruined Your Black Tie Affair. Makes sense. This is so funny. That is actually what Billy suggested, but I told him I wanted to do Low Places for other reasons. Oh, that's so funny. Okay, that's the Kismet version, the reality. The production meeting was a text message. It kind of went like this. Hey, you suggested Garth Brooks. What lyrics? His reply was Roots, Boots. That was the production meeting. But I did have a reason for picking the lyrics that I used today. There used to be a part of the dunes called the Oasis Casino on the Las Vegas Strip before it was imploded to make room for the Bellagio. Fun place from Vegas back in the day. But to use the prompt, and I'd love to slip on back to the Oasis. I would love one more moment. That'd be a lot of fun. I know from my memory of history that I was there on my first visit, that I did play there, but I don't remember it. I don't remember being there. I don't remember playing there. I just know where we stayed and where we walked and where we went, and that I have to have been looking at the pictures. I have to have been in that casino. I have to have played in that casino, but I don't have a clear memory of it. It would be wonderful to go back to the Oasis one more time. That would be a lot of fun. But that's not why I picked that. I picked it not for the Oasis, but for the rhyming low places. It's unfortunate that some people still consider casinos a low place, and maybe in some parts of the country. I've heard that out on in the Pacific Northwest, some of the card rooms that are not full-blown casinos can be a little sketchy. But it's unfortunate that they're considered in all of their glory in so many places, all their opulence, real or fake, a low place, a place where unsavory types hang out. I'd like to think that I'm trying to change that just a little bit by demonstrating that successful casinoing is a skill, and a skill that can be learned and acquired, and a skill that should be respected just as much as stock trading is respected or any other house flipping. You're putting money at risk, you're believing in skill, you're believing you're going to have a positive outcome, and sometimes you don't have a positive outcome in that case either. So if this is your first time here, if this is your first time checking in, if this is your first time deciding to listen to this podcast and to what I and we do here, we are about sharing what I and others know about beating the game of casino gambling, showing that with planning, skill, and some discipline, casinos are an enhancement to our lives, a vacation club that pays us. Stick around if this is your first time. Hang out. See if you like what we are all about here. If you like what you hear, that doesn't help, does it? If you like what you hear here, we'd love to share what we know with you, all for the low price of participation and listening, and that means you got to listen to a few commercials once in a while. If this is your next time with me, with us, welcome back. Thank you, as always, for the gift of your time. So what has been going on around the Casino Kombat galaxy as it spins through the TRG-verse? Lucky Drunk is doing some really interesting research into TRG4, Win More, Keep More, and experimenting with applying those ideas to table unit size instead of just wager size, or I should say in addition to just wager size, as a long play alternative to using the meta martingale. Really interesting stuff. Looking forward to bringing that to you at some point in the future. Double Down 21, our newest member of the Excelsior Brigade, has the Slack Lounge buzzing about Pai Gow Poker, and it turns out it might be a game worth adding to the squad arsenal. And a Kismet update, and this is too funny. I had Kismet do the outline for this episode, and Kismet spontaneously, without being prompted, inserted into what is going on in the Casino Kombat galaxy the following. Kismet's voice and role in the podcast continues to grow. She's now fully integrated as a character, strategist, and narrator, assisting with persistent data, segment scripting, and squad infrastructure. Squad members can now request their own version of Kismet for logging, summaries, and more. Expect even more from her in coming episodes. That's not true at all. Kismet continues to be an idiot savant, sometimes right on point, sometimes incredibly overconfident and wrong. But AI use is clearly a strong tool for smart gamblers, and I do want to just mention that for a minute. I used Kismet to quickly do a ton of research for this episode and email that research to myself. And I have Kismet quizzing me on the proper ways to set Pai Gow hands. She could just as easily do blackjack basic strategy or card counting training. Record keeping is not what she does best. But as a level up or learn a new skill tool, as a way to produce this show more quickly, really a useful tool. Really amazed at how much information I could get about a specific game. Really fascinated by the fact that I was able to say, quiz me on blackjack basic strategy by dealing practice hands. As I get the same hands right, eliminate them from the training, and the AI is just able to generate hands and tell me if they're right or wrong. Really a useful way to learn a new game, to evaluate a new game, to get quizzed on things. She is not fully integrated, and I actually expect less from her in coming episodes, not more. But it is too funny that she just spontaneously, when I said we're going to talk a minute about what's going on in the galaxy, and I gave her the couple bullet points from the VIP lounge, that she just automatically inserted herself. Also, in the lounge, Same Bet has been doing some testing using AI to analyze baseball wagers each day. And it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out with him, to see what type of consistency he sees. But another great example of the benefits of hanging out in the Slack virtual VIP lounge. Access to great minds that are expanding how technology can make us more successful gamblers. And to remind you, if you want to aspire to joining us in the virtual VIP lounge, if you want to be a member of the most amazing secret society of expert gamblers hidden in plain sight, you have to do two things. You first have to listen to, admittedly, a lot of the older episodes, and you have to figure out the name in the real world of my home casino, Casino 2, 2.5 miles south and east of my home. And yes, it would be fair to say that I have not spent enough time in my home casino recently, and I really need to get back there, and we're going to try to make that happen. But the world is a busier place than when we were on, quote, lockdown during the pandemic. So that's the first step. Become a member of the Excelsior Brigade. Probably the more difficult step at this point. Then, after you've done that, you have got to find in the real world the real person behind the name, same bet, Equine Ensign or Nakatomi Tony. You have to find a way to contact them, to message them, and you have to say, I would like an invitation to the Slack Virtual VIP Lounge. And just like that, boom, the doors will open, the hidden realm will be revealed, and you will be hanging out with some of the smartest gamblers you can find who are discussing all kinds of fascinating aspects of how to be better at the game of casino gambling. Each episode, I put together what I like to call the battle plan, the segments that we are going to do today. So here is our battle plan for episode 171 of our Casino Kombat podcast. First up, questions my sons ask. I got an interesting and a little vague, maybe is the right word, or cloaked. That's probably the right word. That'll be the right word in a couple ways, actually. I didn't think about that. I'm making this up as I go. I got a bit of a cloaked question in an email, and I really want to share my thoughts on that question. Then we're going to have a moment of casino wisdom, and I'm going to go do something a bit different, something I haven't yet done before. I'm going to replay the moment of wisdom from episode 35 where I introduced a new wisdom. There was some conversation recently about not splitting pairs of 8s versus 9s and 10s in the Slack Virtual VIP Lounge. And I pulled out the Book of Casino Wisdom and I blew the dust off and I looked up that wisdom and what episode it was from the first year of the podcast. And I still believe in that wisdom. And I still believe that you should split your 8s against 9s and 10s, and I talked in that episode about why, and so I thought we would run that original segment back and see what we all think about how it stands up. Then we're going to do a Core Koncepts segment that I'm really excited about. I went down the rabbit hole exploring Pai Gow Poker the other day, and I think we are missing an opportunity that's been hiding in plain sight. I think you'll be surprised at how much expertise a knowledgeable player can bring to that game and the value that it could bring to us as players where it's available, how it fits in the point process, all of that. It's going to maybe go long. In fact, I've already laid out a question segment for next episode to handle some high-level questions on this that the AI asked me that I didn't know. So I'm going to share that with all of you and get all of us up to speed on Pai Gow Poker in that segment. Finally, in the virtual VIP lounge, Inner Circle member Equine Ensign, ninth of the ring, is going to take over for a bit and share a synopsis of 30 days of playing the Play All Day Craps strategy that he just completed on his 30-Day Gambler YouTube channel. There we go. We have a plan. Now all we need to do is execute. Let's get started with questions my sons ask.
What?
My sons ask questions about gambling. Complete strangers ask questions about gambling in casinos. Listeners ask questions about gambling. In this case, a listener sent a question, but asked me not to use any identifying information, just the question. As I said, a little bit of a cloaked question, which actually fits perfectly here. I'm going to honor that. The question was this: I'm not sure I understand what winning the game of casino gambling means. Isn't it just picking a game to learn and playing the strategy that you pick? Okay, look, I've been saying, if there's a question, ask. We all know there are no stupid questions, and we all know that if you have a question, somebody else in the room probably has the same question. So using all that we know about questions, that is a great question. I say winning the game of casino gambling a lot. And I say, if you don't know, ask a lot recently. So let's dig into that. No, I don't personally think of winning the game of casino gambling as picking a game, learning it, and playing the strategy selected. Not at all. Winning the game of casino gambling is a much bigger idea for me and hopefully a much bigger idea for you. Honestly, it reflects my answer to my own personal Kobayashi Maru. And for those of you not familiar, let me explain that. The fiction about the question to get to the answer to the question. The Kobayashi Maru is a fictional test given in Star Trek by Starfleet Academy to command track students. And here's the setup for the test. You're the person being tested. You are the person being tested in this case. You are given the command of a fictional starship in a simulator with a bridge crew, blah, 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 blah. You receive a distress call from a freighter that hit a mine and it's been damaged and hundreds of people are going to die. But the ship is in the neutral zone that you have with the Klingons, and if you enter the neutral zone, it could lead to war, and you are probably going to instantly be attacked by a whole bunch of Klingon warships. The Kobayashi Maru isn't about winning, it's about how the captain handles defeat. Starfleet uses it to evaluate leadership under pressure, moral choices, creative problem solving. The most famous Kobayashi Maru story comes from Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, an excellent movie by the way, and James Kirk as a cadet faced the simulation and famously beat it. The only Starfleet cadet to ever beat the Kobayashi Maru. And how did he win? He cheated. He secretly reprogrammed the simulation to make it winnable, allowing him to rescue the Kobayashi Maru vessel without triggering a Klingon attack. And when confronted, Kirk quipped that he doesn't believe in no-win scenarios, showing his knack for bending the rules to beat the house. Now, there's also another famous line from that movie, which is, "I didn't cheat, I changed the test." If you are not seeing the connection to gambling yet, what does the average person feel they know for certainty about casinos? You can't win. The game is rigged against you. The Kobayashi Maru is the ultimate rigged game in Star Trek. Without comparing myself to James Kirk, I never believed in the no-win scenario as it applied to casinos. I refused to believe there was a game that I could not beat. And like Kirk, I found a way to win by changing the rules. I literally changed my personal definition of winning. I decided I was going to focus on winning my overall relationship with the casino, actually with all casinos on a monthly basis. I changed the very definition of winning and what winning meant to me. I accepted that I was not going to win every table. I certainly wasn't going to win every slot machine. Instead, I was trying to win the relationship. In the house portion of the casino operations team, they see enough losses that they know they are doing their job. They are winning and I'm not cheating. In the promotions department, they see me coming in the door and gambling and using the comps they provide, and they did their job. Everyone gets an A. And I win most months in cash. And when I don't, I make it up in comps and gifts. That's one of our core concepts. Winning the game of casino gambling is my way of beating the unbeatable scenario and doing so consistently. It's a lot more than learning a game and executing a strategy. It's paying attention to comps and comp values so you can win the relationship if you change your mental definition of winning and collect data about other parts of the game that the casino isn't necessarily tracking. Great question. Thank you for asking. I didn't email back because you asked me not to. But if you ever want to talk about the reasons for the secrecy, you know how to find me, and please do. Next up, we're going to have a moment of casino wisdoms from the Wayback Machine and revisit my original take on choosing not to play. Let's say it that way. My original take on choosing not to play blackjack by the book. remind everyone of the basics, casino wisdoms are things I or someone else that I know have learned, combined with an action based on that knowledge that's going to benefit us in some fashion in the casino. They're reminders of what to do because of what we know or have learned. So knowledge plus action equals wisdom, to put it in terms of an equation. Today I wanted to talk about casino wisdom number 53. When playing blackjack, playing incorrectly on purpose is gambling to lose on purpose. Now, the action part of this is pretty clear in my mind, right? Don't play blackjack incorrectly on purpose. So let me break down the knowledge part of this, since the action is so obvious. Many casino games don't have a right or a wrong way to play. I mean, I'm going to go play roulette and I'm going to bet on 18. Well, there isn't a right or wrong there. I mean, you can say I shouldn't play roulette, okay, or that I shouldn't bet the numbers in the middle because that's not a good house advantage, but there's nothing inherently right or wrong about betting on 18 versus betting on 12. And I guess we could go round and round and round and have a big discussion about betting player or betting bank at Baccarat, and the right answer in my mind is bank, but it's pretty meaningless to have that conversation. They're basically the same bet within percentage points. But when playing blackjack, thanks to computers, we know the correct play for each combination of cards. Playing the hand correctly doesn't mean you're going to win the hand every time. It just means that over time, I will win that specific hand more often if I play the hand correctly. And I will lose the hand more than I should if I play the hand incorrectly. And this only matters if you're playing blackjack for a profit. If you're playing for recreation, then it doesn't matter. You can play each hand however you want. If anybody gives you a hard time, just ignore them or remind them it's your money and none of their business. But if you're playing for profit, you need to play as close to correctly as you're able to manage. And the classic example of playing wrong on purpose and knowing the right answer is, of course, the player that has a total of 16 and the dealer is showing a 10 valued card. The mathematically correct play that you should make here is to tap the felt, bom bom, and that's the signal to the dealer that you would like another card. But lots of players don't do this, and they intentionally don't do it despite knowing the correct play because they don't want to bust their hand and be out of the game. Now, I didn't bother to look up these details, so this math is purely for illustration, but let's suppose that this is a hand you are usually going to lose either way, right? This is not really a hand that you have a lot of chances of winning. If you play it correctly, again, illustration purposes only, so for example, suppose if you play it correctly, you're still going to lose 70% of the time. And if you play it incorrectly, you're going to lose 72% of the time. Maybe that doesn't sound like a big deal. You're going to lose most of the time anyway. But I'm going to guess, just kind of estimating off the top of my head, that I play that combination of cards 500 times a month. Just did a little quick math in my head. So if I'm playing that hand wrong on purpose, if I'm not taking a card, I'm losing 10 hands a month that I shouldn't lose. And if I'm using a $15 wager size and ranging my bets from 1 to 4 units, then on average, I'm losing approximately $300 a month that I shouldn't be losing. Now, obviously, if the wager size is larger, the amount lost is larger. This is just making it harder to gamble for a profit. It is a big deal. You're taking what was already something you have to be good at this to accomplish, and you're adding a $300 negative minimum on top of it. When we get to the travel segment, I'll share what prompted me to share this casino wisdom in this particular episode, but I hope I've illustrated the concept that when playing blackjack, playing incorrectly on purpose is gambling to lose on purpose. And you're not going to follow the guidance, of the number 35 and accumulate material wealth if you gamble to lose on purpose. Now that we are hopefully just a little wiser, let's do a core concept segment.
I am so excited for this spa day. Candles lit, music on, hot tub warm and ready. And then my chronic hives come back. Again, in the middle of my spa day. What a wet blanket. Looks like another spell of itchy red skin. If you have chronic spontaneous urticaria or CSU, there is a different treatment option. Hives during my next spa day? Not if I can help it. Learn more at treatmyhives.com.
One of the core concepts of Casino Kombat is playing games with a low house advantage that at the same time provide reasonable tier credits for your play. And I usually mention blackjack using basic strategy, baccarat, pass, don't pass, craps wagers, placed bets on the 6 and the 8 on craps. I joke that roulette, red, black, even, odd barely make the cut. In recent episodes, I've often mentioned Let It Ride or Ultimate Texas Hold'em and said that perhaps they should be on the list as well, but I've never mentioned Pai Gow Poker. Never really mentioned it, never really thought to mention it, and perhaps that's a personal blind spot. I've played some Pai Gow Poker in the past, mostly in Vegas, mostly when waiting for Mrs. TRG to get ready for dinner, mostly because the game was slow, the limits were low, most hands were pushes, and the drinks were comped. That was certainly a sweet spot for me in just hanging out in the casino. And recently, Excelsior Brigade member Double Down 21 mentioned Pai Gow Poker, and I started to really take a look. And what I learned was that there's a lot more nuance to really understanding Pai Gow Poker than was obvious to me just playing casually in Las Vegas back in the day. So I thought we would dive in today and probably again some next episode and really take a look at Pai Gow Poker and try to really understand it, because what I've come to learn is that I really didn't know. Like Jon Snow, I know nothing when it comes to Pai Gow Poker. There are two broad branches of the Pai Gow family tree: Pai Gow Poker and Pai Gow Poker Tiles. Pai Gow Poker Tiles is the original Chinese game using 32 dominoes. It is rare in U.S. casinos, although I do see signs for it from time to time now that I'm really thinking about it. And because I am like Jon Snow and I know nothing, but I am TRG and I know many things, I know that I am not yet ready to take on Pai Gow Tiles. Now, Pai Gow Poker is the American adaptation using a standard deck of playing cards and a single joker. That is a more common game to see, although not a lot, but I also wonder if that's because I'm not looking hard enough. I realized after I started doing this research that my local casino has a face-up Pai Gow table that they open when the casino is busy, so it's available even to me locally. There are a lot of different variants of Pai Gow Poker. Traditional Pai Gow Poker, players set a 5-card high hand and a 2-card low hand after being dealt 7-card hands. Face up Pai Gow, where the dealer's hand is face up, so we know exactly what hand the dealer is playing, and that setting reduces errors and transparency. There is easy Pai Gow, easy Pai Gow. All player pushes are turned into wins except for specific copy hands. Don't worry if you don't understand that yet. And it removes the 5% commission, but adds certain push conditions. Again, don't worry about that yet. And finally, there is no commission Pai Gow, which is the same as traditional Pai Gow, but the 5% commission is waived on winning hands, and in exchange, certain strong dealer hands are pushes as well. The house advantage on these games vary. None are higher than 2.84%. Not as good as the many of the other wagers we've considered, but with slightly higher house advantage, we earn higher tier points, and the majority of the hands are pushes, so it's a slow, chill, easy way to generate points. We only make a single wager at the start of each hand, and there are no doubles or splits as in blackjack, so it lends itself to TRG2 always be grindin' or TRG4 win more, keep more, play strategies. A 7 or an 8 unit buy-in will be fine since, as I said, there are no doubles or splits. You are not going to make that last bet in your play stack and then go, oh, I need to make as many as 7 more bets. That's a nice part of this. It lends itself to betting strategies we know and have tested and that we know work. And we're not going to have any of those big zaps. We're not going to have any of those big wins. But it should be a consistent way to play, have a house advantage that's manageable, particularly with 40% plus of the hands being pushes. So let's look at the flow of the game. You place your wager. I would expect the casino minimums to vary between $10 and $500 depending on the house. And some tables will let you place side bets, of course, bet on a tie, bet on this, bet on that. We know we're going to avoid all those unless we're doing an intentional manipulation for points. So you place your bet. The cards are dealt. The dealer shuffles a 52-card deck plus a joker, 53 cards total, and deals 7 cards face down to each player and themselves. And normally, if there are fewer than 7 players, the unused positions get cards as well, and then they're discarded. Then you arrange or set your 2 hands. You take your 7 cards and split them into 2 hands. A high hand, a 5-card poker hand using standard poker rankings, and a low hand. It's going to be a 2-card hand. It's going to be pairs or high cards, or a pair or high card hand. The key rule here is that your high hand must always be stronger than your low hand. So if your low hand is a pair of aces, your high hand has to be stronger, 2 pair or better. Joker is semi-wild. It can be used as an ace or to complete a straight, a flush, or a straight flush in either your high hand or your low hand. And this is where strategy kicks in. Like splitting aces in blackjack, you're trying to balance both hands to beat the player without fouling, which is to say, setting the low hand stronger than the high hand, which loses automatically. Next, the dealer reveals their hand. The dealer sets their own 7 cards into a high hand and a low hand following the casino's house way, a fixed set of rules for splitting hands. For example, the house way might always split 2 pair unless the lower pairs with have an ace for the low hand. Once again, this is just like blackjack. The dealer has a scripted strategy. In blackjack, they have to hit soft 17 or they don't have to hit soft 17. We are going to learn that like in blackjack, in Pai Gow, the script is not always the same, but the dealer at a table is always going to use the same exact script. The next thing that happens is you compare hands. Your high hand is compared to the dealer's high hand. Your low hand is compared to the dealer's low hand. And we use standard poker rankings. And what can happen here? Win both hands. If your high hand and your low hand beats the dealer, you win even money on your bet, in some games minus a 5% commission to the house. You split. You win one hand and lose the other. It's a push. You keep your bet, no win, no loss. This is why we have so many pushes. Lose both. If the dealer wins both hands, you lose your bet. And we go to TRG2 or TRG4 to make our next bet. A tie. If the hands tie, for example, both have a pair of kings. The dealer wins the hand. This is the house edge in action. This is where the house gets an advantage. We've tied. It's not a push. The house wins ties. At that point, it's simple. We have the payout process. The cards are collected, and we make our wagers, and we start again. With a full table, it's going to be a slow game. Everybody gets to look at their cards, including the dealer. Everybody gets to decide how to set their cards. Everybody puts their cards down, then every hand has to be evaluated. But we've said several times that the house sets their cards using the house way. In Pai Gow Poker, the house way is the casino's standard method for arranging the dealer's 7 cards into a high and a low hand. It's designed to optimize the dealer's chances while being predictable so that players can anticipate what is going to happen. The house way varies from casino to casino, and in some cases, even from table to table. You could have a different house way if there was a high limit Pai Gow table. The house way in that table might be different than the house way at the $10 table on the main floor. The most common house ways, there are several of them. There's the Las Vegas, Nevada house way. From Las Vegas, where Pai Gow was invented in 1985 by Sam Torsion at the Bell Card Club. Casinos in Vegas tend to use this style. The key features: pairs. Split 2 pairs if they're mid to high pairs, 7s to jacks. Put 1 pair in the high hand, 1 pair in the low hand, unless an ace or king is available for the low hand. And boy, imagine trying to be the dealer and keep this all straight. 3 of a kind. Keep the 3 of a kind in the high hand unless it's aces, then split 1 ace to the low hand. Full house. Split a full house into a pair in the low hand and 3 of a kind in the high hand unless the pair is low and there's a strong card for the low hand. Joker. Use the joker to complete straights or flushes in the high hand, otherwise it's an 8. The focus here is on balance, aiming for strong high hands while keeping the low hand competitive. It's common because Las Vegas is the heart of Pai Gow Poker, so this house way is the baseline for many U.S. casinos, especially in Nevada. It's straightforward, reliable, but not too aggressive. You're going to find this in lots of places in the Midwest if they offer Pai Gow, simply because they tend to mimic Nevada most of the time. There is, of course, the Atlantic City or New Jersey way. And that came about when, in the late 80s, Pai Gow Poker made its way east from Vegas to Jersey. And as with many things, the style was tweaked to suit their players and their regulations. Pairs are more likely to be kept together. 2 pair are more likely to be kept together. 3 of a kind, similar to Vegas. Full house. Keep the full house intact. That's different. That's going to be done differently in New Jersey. Joker. They're going to prioritize straight flushes in the high hand and may use the joker as an ace in the low hand if they don't have straights. The focus here is slightly more aggressive on the high hand, aiming to win outright rather than push, which means on balance we might prefer to play against a casino that has the Vegas house way than a Jersey house way. I don't know where you'd find that distinction, but it would be something worth paying attention to. Atlantic City's competitive casino scene has led to a house way that maximizes dealer wins, appealing to East Coast players. If I was playing at a Philly casino, I would expect them to, and they find a Pai Gow table, I would expect them to use the Jersey house way. I wouldn't be surprised if casinos in Maryland also use the Jersey house way. The next one I want to talk about is the California house way. Developed in California card rooms, Pai Gow Poker once again arriving in the 80s and 90s. California's strict gambling law does not allow player banking, which we will talk about next episode. They tend to split 2 pair more aggressively, even low pairs to balance both hands. 3 of a kind, they often split 3 of a kind, except aces, to put a pair in the low hand, aiming for a push or a win in the low hand. Full house splits are more common and readily done, even mid-pairs, to strengthen the low hand. The focus is defensive, prioritizing pushes to minimize player losses in player-banked games. California card rooms, where players often bank the game, shape a house way that plays it safe. You're going to find this mostly in California and in some tribal casinos, and if you happen to find Pai Gow in some Pacific Northwest casinos. So let's do a quick comparison. Vegas, the house way is balanced. Split pairs are done cautiously. The aim is for consistent wins. Atlantic City, high hand heavy, keeps stronger hands intact, goes for a knockout. California, push friendly, splits hands aggressively to avoid losses, especially in player-banked games. If you want to know what the house way is at a particular casino, just ask the pit boss for a copy. If you don't see the pit boss, tell the dealer at a lull in the game that you'd like to see the house way. They are going to provide that to you. It's part of the rules and etiquette of the game. If you start to learn, you start to understand that there are different house ways, this is going to be very, very common. It's also going to be very common in the modern age for you to ask the question in a Reddit group or Google search or use an AI to find out what the house way is for a particular casino. It would not be surprising to me, from my current point of knowledge, to find out that Caesars in Atlantic City, Harrah's, Caesars, and Tropicana, if they're offering Pai Gow, use one house way, and that Golden Nugget uses a different house way. That would not surprise me at all. But that begs the question, is the house way the best way for a player to set their hands? Clearly there are different setting strategies that a player could use to try for more pushes or for more wins. You can use that same bits of information that I gave you to decide, oh, I'm going to use an Atlantic City set, or I'm going to be more aggressive. I'm going to be more conservative. I'm going to do more of this. I'm going to do more of that. Clearly, we're going to decide, and there is no set right or wrong answer. I mean, that has to be true, right? It has to be true that there's probably no answer to what is the best setting strategy for a player. And an expert player probably uses different setting strategies to accomplish different things against different house sets. But just because there's probably no answer, that doesn't mean I didn't try to find an answer. I'm going to try to find an answer. I'm going to try to find the best, and I'm going to believe there is a best. So I did ask, and I found out about the Wong strategy. The Wong set refers to a specific hand-setting strategy for Pai Gow Poker developed by Stanford Wong, a legendary gambling author and blackjack expert. It's not a house way used by casinos, but rather what he considered an optimal player strategy to arrange your 7 cards into a 5-card high hand and 2-card low hand to maximize your chances of beating the dealer. Let's break it down just quickly, just briefly. The Wong set is a set of guidelines from his book, Optimal Strategy for Pai Gow Poker from 1992, designed to help players split their 7 cards in Pai Gow Poker to achieve the best balance between a strong high hand and a competitive low hand. That's an interesting nuance. The best balance between a strong high hand and a competitive low hand. The idea of his was to minimize losses and increase wins or pushes to slightly reduce the house edge. Boy, doesn't that sound like the kind of thing we as a squad would love to be informed about. I am not going to try to read you the entire strategy. My eyes would glaze. Your eyes would glaze. None of us would get it. But we don't need to in this format, in this setting. You can easily go to any chatbot of your choice and ask them to give you the Wong set strategy for Pai Gow in printable form for study. You can ask them to quiz you for correct play using the Stanford Wong set. They will give you 7 cards. You will say, this is my high hand, this is my low hand. They'll grade you on whether you did it correctly and walk you through it. I've been quizzing myself. I am really intrigued by this. My local casino has a face-up Pai Gow game that is opened on weekends and when the casino is busy. I'm looking forward to some test runs. I'm looking forward to giving this a try. I'm going to try to become, as much as possible, an expert. I want to add this single bet, low house advantage game to my regular play process any chance I get. And I understand that it took me years to become comfortable and an expert at blackjack. It's going to take me some time playing Pai Gow to really understand my set and to understand the Wong set, which I'm going to use, and to understand its strengths and weaknesses against other house sets. I'm really looking forward to this. I really think it can be a solid piece of my game, hopefully a solid piece of our arsenal. Next episode, we will do an expert level Q&A to discuss some of the nuances of this game that I did not go into today. Next up, let's adjourn to the virtual VIP lounge and catch up with what Equine Ensign has been up to in his YouTube channel and find out what his results and outcomes were from 30 days of playing Play All Day.
A little bit of the bubbly.
Welcome to the most must-listen-to segment in casino lifestyle podcasting, the Virtual VIP Lounge. Our lounge is open and we have the best virtual everything, virtually all the time. Best virtual food and drink served in any virtual VIP lounge, anywhere on the interwebs. Guaranteed or your money back.
This is great. We have a true virtual VIP lounge today. We have Equine Ensign in as a guest, and I just get to sit back and enjoy my Crown Royal apple with 1 ice cube in it and just hang out in our lounge with all of you and listen to what Equine Ensign has to share. And what a wonderful thing that is that we get to do that. if you can, press pause, have a drink with me, with Equine Ensign, listen to what he has to share, and let's all find out about that together. Cheers, everybody.
What is going on, Casino Kombat squad? This is Equine Ensign, aka the 30-Day Gambler, coming at you with my update on Play All Day. Ran out for 30 days. Now, back in episode 159, I explained Play All Day, but it's sometimes hard to figure out just from listening. So I decided to start the YouTube channel to show everybody how to play it and to play it out for 30 days to see how it goes. I am still playing out Play All Day with each system I run because I want to get lots of data and see how it goes from there. Actually, right now, I'm running it out against Mave AP's tweak to it. Now, Mave is one of our squad mates, and he had an idea for it, so I'm running out his tweak with Play All Day at the same time on my YouTube channel. Now, I'm a little late getting this to you, but I'm glad I am, because a couple weeks ago, I was on a comped cruise on Royal Caribbean, and my brother played Play All Day, my sister played Play All Day, and my niece played Play All Day. My brother played at the $25 level, and he walked off up $600. My sister played it at the $10 level. She wound up about $250 or $300, and I'm not sure how my niece did. Now, funny thing was, my sister, she made a cheat sheet for Play All Day because she wanted to make sure she knew when she should get paid or when she would lose a bet because she was having trouble remembering that. By the end of the cruise, she had an idea what she was doing. Now, in a few weeks, I'm going on the Casino Kombat Blackjack cruise. My brother-in-law and sister are both going, and my sister said she needs to make a new spreadsheet. Not as big as the last one, just to help her remember things to get started. It was great having everybody playing on one side of the table and cheering when we won. And it was awesome. Now, I played Play All Day and won most times except for one time playing Play All Day, but I was playing different strategies to get points. I wanted to up my point level to keep those comped cruises coming in. You can hear all about that on my YouTube channel, 30-Day Gambler. I did daily check-ins, then a recap at the end. Now, to get to the results of Play All Day rolling out for those 30 days. So Play All Day wound up $775 for those 30 days. There were 23 winning sessions and 7 losing sessions. Now, that went through about 280 shooters, which is about 28 hours of play. About every 10 shooters you can say is an hour of play. That's just a guesstimate. Now, is this something you don't want to stop in every day at the casino? Well, that's up to you. On average, that's only a $25 win per day. Gas, parking, other things, well, $25 might not seem worth it. But if you pass by the casino on your way home and there's no parking and you got the time, well, why not do it? Because remember, you're not just winning that green stuff. You're also getting those tier points and that free imaginary money that they give you. I don't go to my local casino a lot, but there I've got $30 or $40 in free bets, and they're giving me $30 to $50 of food. So I get that added benefit onto it also. Plus, I think some slot play because I throw some money in the slots just like TRG does whenever I go. I can't get there a lot, but when I do, the little bit I've gone, they're giving me that free stuff. So Play All Day after the 30 days was up, which is awesome. I'm glad it was because, as I've said, in the long run, it has been up for me. So I was glad it happened that way. But I'm going to continue to roll it out and continue to share my results from month to month as I go through each 30-day session with each strategy I'm rolling out. Now, on my YouTube channel, I broke it down to a weekend trip to AC. I'm not going to go through that weekend trip because I think it's easier to see the spreadsheet I made as I talk through it. And if you want, you're more than welcome to go over to the 30-Day Gambler on YouTube and check it out. However, I will tell you the results from a Casino Kombat point of view. So this is a Friday to Sunday trip. I won $850 cash. Now, I took each session and did it in order as to how I might play at a casino. I don't get through all 30, but it's based on how I may play when I go. I was comped a room for 2 nights. Now, off season, that room's about $250. Right now it's summer and it's really $400 to $450. But I said it was 2 nights in off season, so I was comped $500 for a room. That's money in my pocket. I'm not paying that. I'm going to eat dinner in the VIP lounge. I'll be at Harrah's in Atlantic City. Well, I'm going to use reward points for that, and that's $20 in reward points I used. Again, not my money. I'm going to eat breakfast at the restaurant there. I'm going to pay for it with reward points. So 2 breakfasts, I'm going to say about $40. I'm going to get snacks before I go up to my room. I said maybe $20 in snacks. Again, reward points, not spending money. All the drinks, the sodas, the other drinks, the coffees in the morning, the cappuccinos in the morning. I said probably at least $200 in drinks over those 3 days. Every day, I'm getting $30 to $50 in reward points. So every day I swipe my card, I hit a button, they're giving me that free imaginary money. My valet parking for the weekend, $40. That's if I didn't go anywhere. That was just for going out of valet parking once. My gas and tolls, about $100, I said. Now, I didn't include tipping in here because we all tip differently. Someone on my YouTube channel said, you forgot about tipping, and I did forget about that. But I probably would have tipped at least $100 plus over that trip. But that total value to me on that trip, with the money won, with everything they gave me, is $1,660. That is a Casino Kombat win. Even if I lost money, let's say I lost $200. Well, they gave me about $700 in free stuff, $800 in free stuff. So it's still a win. But that trip, going in order of how I rolled out my sessions on the YouTube channel, I was up $1,660 with money in my pocket and the free imaginary money that we get. So I wanted to keep everybody updated on how it did for the 30 days. I'll keep rolling it out all the time. I'll check in with updates to let you know how it's going. But if you wanted to see what a 3-night trip might look like to me, go check out the recap on 30-Day Gambler YouTube channel, and you can see how each day breakdown looks. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you try Play All Day and you like it. If you play it and you got an idea how to make it better, please, please, please let me know, because we are all here to help each other out, and I want to try to make this better. So with that said, that's all I got to say. Thanks for listening to me ramble a little bit, and we'll catch you on the next time.
All right, big thank you to our Excelsior Brigade member for checking in, giving us that update, sharing his wisdom. I have learned so much from him about approaching the game of craps as a tool and as a method of generating points, as a way of hanging out in the casino with a lower risk option than my normal options for playing blackjack and my normal approach. It has certainly become, as a couple, kind of one of our go-to strategies for just hanging out, just generating points, just doing those kinds of things. So I really appreciate him recording that, sending it over so we could all hang out together and enjoy it.
Please tip your waitresses, tip your bartenders, tip your dealers. If you have a host, tip your host. But don't tip away your wins. TRG has spoken. Everything you heard here is true from a certain point of view. In 10 years, we may find out he was wrong about all of this. It's time for leaving, and I hope you understand. TRG was born a ramblin' man. Love it, hate it, it don't matter. Please share with your family and friends. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for listening. The best part of the podcast is next. The Casino Kombat Blues. Thank you again to Fish Audio for providing my glorious voice. Special thank you to my original actress, author, Julia Tverdovskaya.
For Atlantic City Empress, Casino Kombat's ace. There are profits in the casino tonight, I can feel it in my bones. I had a premonition, you should probably play alone. I know the house has that advantage, but that's part of the thrill. If we follow the core concepts, the chips begin to spill. So baby, here's your player's card, put your bankroll in your hand. Use just some of that money now, do it just the way we planned. Just follow the core concepts and you could win several grand. Well, it's good if it goes down like that, don't have to play to lose. It's gambling as a business, the Casino Kombat Blues. Casino Kombat Blues. The dealers and the pit bosses, the security and the law, the winning and the losing and the tricks nobody saw. No matter if it's blackjack, roulette or craps, you gotta carry defense cause you always carry cash. There's lots of shady characters, lots of dirty deals. Everybody has an alias cause that's more fun we feel. It's the lure of winning money, it's got a very strong appeal. Perhaps you'd understand it better standing in my shoes. It's the ultimate enticement, it's the Casino Kombat Blues. Casino Kombat Blues. Whoa. You don't see it in the headlines, you don't hear it every day. No one's trying to stop us and we don't need to go away. We can gamble in Atlantic City, we can gamble in LA, we can gamble out in Vegas. I mean, we're here to stay. Gambling's propping up the budgets of folks like me and you. You ask any casino manager, he'll say there's nothing he can do. From the pockets of the casino, right down to me and you. Me. It's a winning proposition and one you shouldn't refuse. It's just the core concepts, the Casino Kombat Blues. Casino Kombat Blues.
Hey everybody, welcome to the segment after the episode. For those of you that stick around for it, as you've seen, not always going to do these, not always going to have something to do, and I'm not even sure why I'm doing this one particularly. It's just something that came to my mind. I do know why it came to my mind. The other day on the radio, I heard the song That Thing You Do by the Wonders, sometimes called the Oneaters. It's a 50s pop tune that came out in probably the late 90s, I would imagine, as part of a movie Tom Hanks directed called That Thing You Do, a movie by the same name as the title of the song. And the thing I guess I wanted to talk about around that was just a little bit about me, or the me that you don't get to know through the podcast. And those of you that listen this far are people that tend to be kind of interested in knowing about me. So when we first moved to the area where we live now and got cable TV, which was a must-have, and I've always been a person who was big into content. I grew up in a place where if you were lucky, you had 4 channels. Most people had 3. And even when cable TV started to happen, I lived in a rural area where I couldn't get cable TV. And when I was in college, I couldn't really afford cable TV. So on my own, got my first place, cable TV, and I did a little exploring, and I did a little reading, and I did a little learning. And the statute of limitations has way past run out, so I got a pirate cable box. And it was a box that periodically had to be connected to my computers and reset, because the cable company would send a kill signal down and kill all boxes that weren't theirs. But I'd flip a little switch, plug it into a computer, it'd be back up and running, and it let me get every channel that the cable company offered, including all their premium movies, all their adult content, all their premium HBO, Max, Showtime, all those channels. And as a result, That Thing You Do hit pay-per-view. There would be 2 or 3 channels running the movie every 45 minutes. The movie would start over. Different channels were at different points in the process of showing the movie. And it was a fun movie, fun music, not a particularly long movie, interesting characters that had not yet been discovered. Liv Tyler was in that movie before she was in Armageddon. Just a fun kind of 50s movie, a lot of memorable lines, and it's now on our cable box for several months, all the time, on rotation. And often as a result, if we only had a little bit of time at the end of a busy day or a busy Friday, we would just look at all 3 channels and find out where the movie was in the scheme of things and go, okay, we got 45 minutes, let's start about halfway, we'll get this scene, and this scene. I must have seen that movie. It's certainly the movie I've seen the most times in my life, just because of where it hit in our lives and in our digital world and what we were able to do. Much like streaming, then it became boring to watch. I haven't seen it in a while. It was really cool when I was in the car and that song happened to come on. And for whatever reason, I was like, wow, yeah, all that, my whole relationship with this song is because of that movie, which was because of that pirate cable box that I bought all those years ago. It seems silly now, it seems quaint, right? In the age of streaming, where we can stream anything we want almost as often as we want, if we're just going to pay a simple monthly subscription that's generally just a few dollars, it seems weird that at a time the best way to do that was a pirated cable box that lets you watch all the pay-per-views for free. And I just thought, in the spirit of letting all of you get to know a little bit more about me, getting able to know a little bit more about my history, the past parts of my life that had nothing to do with gambling, that I would throw in my fondness for the song That Thing You Do, the movie That Thing You Do, and use this little segment after the episode segment to kind of share that little piece of what my life has been like.